Good evening, free enterprise fans across the nation. My name is Nitzy, and I'm joined in the booth here today with Decker Smash. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nitsi. Thank you. Looking forward to an exciting match here between two of our excellent runners, Cubs Rule and Pyre.
Myself as well. Just a little tune-up here for our upcoming tournament, the Highway to the Zemus Zone 6. Looks as though we have DK Cecil, or you just call him Cecil, as our hero. So just going to quickly go through some of the flags that we have here for the tournament, just in case this is your first time stopping by. Thank you so much for stopping by. So we do have 8 quests. They are in no particular order. Having Coco forge the Legend Sword with Advent, which will always be required in this flag set, and then there'll be 7 tough quests. So no freebies like uh, go find you know go find Water Hag or find Porum over there in the Baron Inn. In regards to that, thank you so much, Kaz Cappy, for the 24 month sub. We greatly appreciate it. And Q didn't for subscribing with Prime Gaming, subscribing for 36 months as well. We greatly appreciate all the support there. Um, so in these flags, we have completing the sealed cave. Always a fun time. Get the Luca key, go down, maybe drop down some doors. Burn the village miss with the package. Everybody hates to see Rydia's town burned down. Destroy the super cannon. Always fun if you run into Mom Bomb there. Gets a little bit spicy. Complete the Tower of Zod. So we'll need the Earth Crystal. Launch the Falcon. So Hook. Trade away the Rat Tail. So Hook may be hard required. And conquer the Vanilla Ribbon Room. So not much up on the moon on this seed. So what do you think of those flags, Decker?
I think we have a great set of objectives here. Not too many redundant moon objectives that are just gated by the Darkness Crystal. So probably not going to be a super jet seed. At least the odds are against it.
For sure, I would definitely agree with that, and it won't be. Um, yeah, sorry, lost my train of thought for a second there, but it will definitely not be very jetty, or at least there'll be a lot of key items that'll be picked up. I'm curious to who DK Cecil's partner in crime will be to start. Um, Hopefully, it's somebody good because DK Cecil, before he gets to ordeals, well, true story, he's not that good. That's why you want to send him up ordeals as fast as you possibly can in regards to that. Um, so, what else do we have in store for our runners here, Decker?
Well, I think the Dark Knight Cecil start itself is pretty exciting because, on these flags, you have to take Cecil into that changing room all by himself, and depending on who the boss is there, it can be kind of tricky since there's nothing you can really do to prepare Paladin and Cecil for that fight other than, maybe equip a new weapon or shield mid-battle.
That's true. So picking up a dancing dagger may definitely want to play into the minds of our runners here tonight. In regards to that, at least that's what I would be thinking with that sort of a start. It's an excellent point you made, and I never even thought about it till just now. So definitely good. And away we go. Apparently the gate got dropped, and I missed it. Oops. So we've got a DK Cecil with our best buddy Yang, and we've got Leviathan holding a package. How fun!
Well, that is an objective, and it's another character, which we might go check right away, given that Dark Knight Cecil and Yang do not exactly inspire a lot of early game confidence.
No, I would definitely say I was hoping it would be somebody better than Yang just to sort of carry the early game because DK Cecil is not great at carrying the early game. So, yeah, I would go at least take a peek for sure. You're already going to be up there in the air, and it's right up there. And it looks as though Cubs is going to do that, and it looks as though Pirates is going to do that as well. So we will see shortly who is there.
Not too surprising. Looks like I'm gonna check the loot, maybe.
Yeah, definitely not a bad play there. I might check the loot as well, and it's an edge.
Well, that's definitely a character you want right away.
Yep. So we'll see this cutscene. We'll see. It looks like maybe my cousin there, who lives in the observatory, burning down the village. It's tough to say.
Now, you still do have to beat the package boss. It's one of the weakest boss locations, but depending who's there, this starting party could still be not the best for it.
That is also very true. Hopefully, your DK Cecil has a black sword that might make things a little less painful. Not that the darkness sword is any worse, really, but we'll definitely see. Hopefully it's an easy boss that they'll be able to take down. Hopefully it's not Demus. I hope that in this seed that Demus is buried somewhere and it's got something spicy that our runners will need to win.
Yeah, maybe like the CPU location or something like that.
I know, Scar. I know the Black Sword is very good in the early game. I'm just, you know, just de-resting here. It's a Wednesday night and just making mistakes, having a good time.
We do have the black sword, you can see there. Cubs just checked it, so that should be able to handle pretty much any boss here.
Yeah, I would agree 100% in regards to that. So definitely a great start for our runners. Usually you would see them looting first, so this is definitely a fun way to start a seed rather than just going through all the standard loot checks. I think you'd agree.
Absolutely. Although, with Sineki, Edge is not quite as powerful as he is in some flag sets. He still has the flame spell, but his melee, you gotta find some weapons for him.
That is definitely true. It looks as though we're going to take the Thor Rage way out, and it got to almost all of the gas there for Cubs. And they're going to use the kick and take care of the last gas, and probably should just be a couple of swings, and Mylon will say, "Oh, my body," or he'll disappear.
Yep. His lit one's doing a little damage there, but should be manageable.
Definitely making it a little exciting there, Mylon. Good try. You got him down to 14. I applaud you, Mylon.
Absolutely.
Over on Pyre's side, looks as though Kangoo there doing the same thing, basically knocking out the Thor Rages to get rid of those gas. They would have a really low HP amount at this spot, and hopefully you can just take care of Mylon there. But looks like Mylon is not having any of it and trying to take Cecil down.
Yeah, nothing too interesting. It doesn't look like in the item shop. Ooh, Dark Knight Cecil goes down on Pyre's side. That's a little inconvenient. And maybe Cubs is going to make the Kaipo Sand Ruby character check, which is Iridia.
That is that's definitely interesting to know later on in regards to that. Our runners may double back for that Rydia, but I'm just looking here. I do not show returning the Sam Ruby as a required check, so maybe not.
There is a Dancing Dagger also in the weapon shop here in Kaipo, but Cubs doesn't have any money to buy it because he hasn't done any looting yet.
That is one thing about this flag set. Money is at a premium. Even with Team In Tier 3 and Max Tier 7, the chests are T Pro, which means you get some decent weapons to sell, but they're not worth nearly as much money as we've had in tournaments past, that's for sure.
And Cubs finding some good stuff here in the Watery Pass right away with an Ogre Axe and Heroine Robe, although neither of them immediately helps us. Looks like
Nope.
Pyre also picked up a Mute Knife somewhere, maybe in Mist Village, so that's a good one.
I did note that Pyre did check in the weapon shop, and I just happened to unfortunately miss what was in there. So I'm going to guess that he was able to grab that mutant knife there. That would be my best guess. Are you, Decker, are you a fan of the Watery Pass play? I know it's been talked about. Some people go yay, some people go nay. What's your thoughts on that?
I haven't been doing the front of the watery pass very much on these flags because it's one of those checks that's much more convenient when you have an exit caster, and with Tell out of the pool, you usually have one when you're doing your early game looting.
I'm being told by a voice in my ear that Mutant Knives are T4, so they will not be on the overworld on S Pro. So I'm not quite sure where that Mutant Knife came from then. And we'll just leave it at that, as we have elements here with an Edward up at the top of Mount Hobbs. I don't know if it's me. I'm resetting out. I don't find Edward with a lot of utility on these flag sets. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Decker.
I mean, sometimes just having an extra warm body can help if you've got like Maga Sisters at the back attack spot or something like that, but you could definitely leave him here. I don't hate it. It's just, unless you find the spoon, he's kind of a potato.
I I agree with that analysis. 10 and a half out of 10. And Pyre using the flame, knowing that Mylon Z is weak to flame and gaining a little bit of extra time on Cubs in the really, really early game here. If at the end of the day Pyre wins by 3 seconds, you could look at that fight as the turning point.
Absolutely a very efficient way to get through that elements fight there.
Absolutely. And we have a bit of divergence here, which I do like. We have Pyre looting Antlion. I do like this simply just to get items so that you can sell them to have money. It's fairly densely packed, and you're going by there anyways, so you might as well take the extra couple of steps and pick those up. And we've got Cubs going to Fabul, and we'll see who's there. And, oh, DK Cecil meet DK Cecil at Antline.
Yep. I like Pyre's play getting aggressive on it here because it's going to be faster to kill the Dark Knight than it will be to sit through speech.
Yes, since this spot only has 1,000 HP, definitely faster. He didn't even cast one Dark Wave there. And he is down. Some levels are gained. And for his hard work, he gets a Darkness Crystal. It's very spicy, very spicy.
That is very spicy, although not as spicy as it would be if we had more moon objectives.
This is very true, but you do have that gated shop on the moon, and you do have a free moon character check, so that's always a plus. Over on Cub side, looks as though CPU is attacking Fabul, very angry virus coming to take their land, but seems as though Cubs has no problem with that.
Yeah, Cubs is probably happy to have the CPU out of the way at a low HP spot like that one. Would you go up and check the moon right away if you were Pyre?
At this point, I want to try and round out my team, and if I'm going to go to ordeals, I want as many, warm bodies as I can potentially get. And yes, is it a cutscene? Yes, is it time wasting? But the odds of it being a duplicate are really low. I'm sure that Scar in chat can tell me what the percentage is because I don't know that off the top of my head. But in regards to that, if I have the chance to get a character, I would rather pick them up before making this play. Again, just to have another warm body because there could be some difficult enemies here on top of ordeals.
Yeah, I think this party's really crying out for a white mage in particular. You want to get Berserk to power up all these kind of melee guys you've got.
Exactly, as Berserk says in chat, there could be a Lunar Rosa. It could be a Porum. At this point, your team's screaming healing, and these spots do give like a non-trivial amount of experience to be able to level up your characters, at least in the early going. I mean, he could just do what they do and do the magic Mac Giant grind, which I need to really learn. in regards to that.
Yeah, the Mac Giant grind is one that anybody who's thinking about playing in the tournament, it would definitely behoove you to learn if you don't know it already.
I'm going to be spending this weekend doing that. That is for sure.
So another interesting thing here, Cubs got the hook from doing the Fabul defense, and that again is I think a reason to go to the moon and check that character sooner rather than later, because it's always a rude hook route until it's not.
Show me back attack dolls. It's unfortunate that this will probably be pretty trivial with Edge if Edge could ever, cast Flame. Let me show you how.
Yep, Pyre getting a lot of good use out of the flame. I guess true to his name early in this seed.
Absolutely. People forget about that sometimes, that Edge does come with that flame spell when you do pick him up, at least in these flag sets, in regards to that.
Yep.
And it's,
And with the mute knife, it even does a little extra bonus damage from the stat boost.
That's right. I forgot about that. And we will see at this point. Pyre, I don't know if he picked up a dancing tiger. In regards to that, I would really, really want this at this fight, just because it can be very spicy, and Pyre didn't save, so it could go south really, really quickly potentially. But it
I
is a
think he
berry key.
did. And it's a Baron key, which is a nice, interesting check for us to make. Not an objective, but it could have the magma key for all we know.
It definitely could. Hopefully the magma key is in the Fame Arch chest. That's what I'm hoping. Although it looks like it's Baron guards here. It should not be that difficult. And it looks as
It's a
though,
little creepy.
well, I
Eh,
mean, he's got Dwarf Axe. That's gonna be more than enough. I'm not sure why the Star Veil was needed there. Dwarf Axe should be able to do 500 damage to each guard, or maybe not. 87. What do I know?
Yeah, level 1 Cecil, not as powerful as you're used to.
This is true. This is why I'm not a top tier runner, but a C or D tier runner. But
So
unfortunately,
we
the
got some
size
big doll over on Cubs, and he just resets out of it.
he was just like, no, no, thank you, no, thank you. I will not have another, sir. Unfortunately, these sizes are bouncing back to the wrong spots. So it's a bit of a grind here for Pyre. Maybe Cubs can make up a little time.
Yeah, it's relatively safe. I think the Star Veil was a good move. I'm surprised he didn't buy a dancing dagger. I'm pretty sure he checked the shop in Kaipo where there was one. Meanwhile, the issue Cubs had there in the first attempt on the dolls, I think, was he had the assassin dagger on Edge, which penalizes his spellcasting.
I see. I did not see that initially, so that would definitely explain why um, why it didn't quite take care of it the way that uh, it happened on Pyre's side there.
Well, Pyre's through. We've powered up our Cecil, and I don't know if we really have much for him yet, but he's a strong character, and he'll make himself useful, even though finding holy swords on these flags is pretty challenging.
Yes, having run a few of these seeds, you're lucky to get a light sword. Beyond that, Avenger, if you're super lucky. I know that's not a holy sword, but yeah, they're definitely few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, some people are used to doing the sort of standard Evelyn check for in case there's a holy sword there, but we're actually on a new version of Free Enterprise, still on beta, but in this version on T Pro, the holy swords cannot even show up in Evelyn, so I think it's only on the lunar subterrane that you can find them.
Well, I did not know that. Today I learned.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep things fresh here by rebalancing some of the trap chest drop rates to make it so that people try some of the more challenging locations, I think.
No, and that's definitely a good thing It's always fun to have a different flag set every time we come around to Zemus Zone season.
So Cuden in chat points out there is always Forge, although with Sea Hero on, we'd be getting a random Cecil Forge weapon, which could be either very powerful or very not powerful, depending on your luck.
Yes, this is very true. I forgot that that might be a possibility. I think he can get Picky Stick and or oh no, the that fake. I'd never played the DS version, Decker, so I don't know. It's that fake, the Excalibur.
Yeah, the Excalibur, which in this randomizer is called the Caliburn. I think that's a relic of the old English translation. Flan Sword is another kind of joke result you can get, as Ryoto points out in chat.
Love that you're doing that, chat. Really appreciate you guys all coming out to support everybody here this evening or this afternoon or this morning or wherever you happen to be.
Yep, but as far as finding a holy sword the old-fashioned way, I think actually the pinktail is probably one of the more common ways you can do it. It's about a 1 in 4 chance for finding a holy sword there.
1 in 4. I like those odds.
Better if you count the Avenger, so it's definitely a thing to prioritize if you have a Cecil.
Absolutely. So we do have Pyre going up to the moon here, and I don't think Cubs did, so I am not sure who this is going to be.
I don't think Cubs has even done Antlion and gotten his Darkness Crystal yet.
No, that's actually true. I don't believe so. But it is a Kinu, and you know I love Canes, so don't ditch him. Ditch Edward before you ditch Kane. But I know that I believe on this flag set, correct me if I'm wrong, the spoon flag is on.
That is true. It is on.
So that means that only Edward, in his infinite wisdom, will be able to equip the spoon, which will give him 255 attack power. Please nerf Edward.
Cubs finding long swords in the Baron gated shop, which is the best thing you can buy in a shop for Edge on these flags, but I don't think he's quite got enough cash to be able to to buy them. So it looks like we're gonna get a Baron in check maybe instead.
Good point from Ryoto in chat. Cubs might fade Antlion because he has the hook, so he might think that darkness might be underground potentially in regards to that. So definitely interesting to see how that plays out. But looks as though King Odin, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's Palom.
It looked like a Palom.
Yes, it's green Palom, orange Porum, I believe.
Yeah, usually it's like the... Yeah, it's definitely a Palom. Antlion here in the second spot, a little annoying because you're gonna get his kind of his counters here.
Yes. So as long as you don't use the fight command against Antlion, like if you use Power Punch, he will not trigger that script, and he does nearly nothing in terms of physical attack. Otherwise, unless he's in a really physical heavy spot, which he definitely might be in here.
Yeah, and you know, Cub's doing an interesting thing, investing a Drain Spear as a dart to get through this fight quickly. Definitely saves some time, but, you know, that means you won't have that Drain Spear to dart at something like, you know, the King Queen Evelyn spot, which I'd probably lean towards saving it for, but, you know, it's an aggressive play that I kind of like.
Sometimes you never know. King Queen Evelyn may not appear, so use it or lose it, I guess.
Yep, and we got half a Forge, which is also part of an objective.
Yep, so I wonder where Cubs goes next. It looks as though he is going to go through the underground. He feels like he's probably got enough levels, and he's probably right to be able to take the two bosses here. As we know, it's Leviathan at the Beigen spot. which shouldn't be that difficult given the party composition.
No, I think it's a good play. Trying to kind of, I don't know if you can call it single dip, since we probably won't do the basement, but get 2 Baron checks out of the way in one trip. I would probably save here at the save spot that he's going to now, just in case there's something really nasty on the throne like a Golbez or Valvalis.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure the smart play, and I think he's taking this just for the density of key items since he was already in the Baron in there, and might as well knock out this check while you're here. Come back to the basement if you need to. You might even not need to, but just sort of put that on the back burner for now.
Yeah, with the basement not being an objective, I don't know. There's a reasonable play either way about whether you check the boss in case it's a freebie, but you probably aren't going to be fighting it right now.
No, definitely not. Now, Leviathan's wave attack is an HP based attack, and it's based on your HP, so it will do 25% of the total HP that you have, or sorry, 25% of the maximum HP that you can have. I should be specific in regards to that.
That's right. Kind of the same as Ogo Pogo's, except he hits you with it twice to start the fight, so it's half your health.
Yeah, it's Ogo Light, folks. And with those spells again, hang a little bit. Palom taking a nap. You don't want to see it because you wanna get Palom those levels. You want to get him to Quake unless Cubs has a different idea. But because Cubs doesn't have Darkness Crystal, I'm not sure where he's thinking about this, or maybe he was just doing it to get it done, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could definitely have a slingshot in his mind, but not having the Darkness Crystal does make that a little more speculative. I mean, if you've got a hook route where you really want Quake, for example, then having Palom down is not ideal at this time.
No, definitely not. And it looks as though the true king, Baron, is a Sparkle. Let's hope Wyvern. Pale Dim. Boo, earns.
Guess we'll have to settle for some Doots.
So, Pale Dim doesn't like when you use magic spells against him. So you basically just fight him, and he casts slow on you, and he doesn't really matter at this point. It'll be quite trivial at this point.
And as you can see, Eddie's Dancing Dagger not really contributing too much here because of the higher magic defense at this spot.
Eddie's just trying to help, Decker. He's doing his part. He's helping. Big boys do like 300-400. He's in there with like 86-94.
Yeah, and I think Cubs is actually just parrying through with Yang too, because he figures he won't do enough damage to warrant sitting through a slow counter, which is definitely true if he's got an Elemental Claw on due to Pale Dim's resistances.
Yes, I believe he has had the Thunderclaw on, I believe.
He definitely had it on. I don't know if he might have. I don't know if it's still on. Presumably it is.
Yeah, based on the fact that he's just parrying through, I'm gonna bet dollars to donuts that it's on. I mean, you could always de-equip it, but who knows?
Yeah, anyway, the routing of this seed is actually really interesting with our two runners, with Pyre not knowing about the hook and Cubs not knowing about the Darkness Crystal. So it'll be really interesting to see, if we get, say, another rabbit hole item out of Baron, where they go next.
What do you think would be the spiciest item? Do you think maybe Earth Crystal at that point?
I'd say it's probably the Twin Heart, because doing the Earth Crystal is a no-brainer since you want to go to the Treasury and since it's an objective. But if it's the Twin Heart, somebody might try to fade it.
That's very true. I never even thought about that. I was just thinking about maybe, and I do realize it's an objective in regards to that. I just thought because it is lengthy, to sit through all that. There are two bosses up there. They can potentially be rude, especially still our party not completely powered up there, as we've got a mom bomb and again maybe one of my cousins acting as statues, which is always fun.
Yeah, we got a lot of scholars in this one.
Absolutely, it's intelligence 10 out of 10, and for Cubs' hard work, he is going to get a liquid hot magma key.
It is the magma key. I think that's some witchery on my part. I will probably go underground and check that. That'll also allow Pyre to save a little time on the number of trips to Fabul.
That is definitely true. He will be able to do, as we call the single dip. Well, it'll be a double dip unless he picks up pan somewhere. Got a little bit of looting on Cub's side, and oh, they are. I was going to say maybe they were faking me out there, but they are going to take a peek at who is living down here. Oh, and it's a demist.
I mean, that's definitely being rewarded for making the peak, even though you probably don't want to take that right now. Having that knowledge is really valuable.
Absolutely. At this point, and Cubs smartly says, "No, thank you. We'll come back and see you later, though." So definitely with that knowledge, we will definitely see that Baron Basement boss again in the near future.
Very likely.
Absolutely. With two potential checks, one being the potential key item. I say potential. And also having the Mist Dragon check, definitely important for our runners. As we indicated, they're going to have to pick up a lot of key items to finish this seed. So you wanna knock those out as best as you can.
Yep, now, although we got the magma key to get underground, launch the Falcon is an objective, so that hook is still useful, and we probably still will eventually go down that hook route. But usually when you know, because it doesn't have a key item check, usually in this situation you kind of put it off to the end to do as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Easier way to get underground is a magma key, and knowing that you can potentially power up your team so that who's ever potentially on that hook route, whether it be you know spicy, well, we know CPU's off the table, so there's that. There can be a few other spicy bosses at the ruby spot there, so um, we'll
Certainly.
see what we'll see.
Baymarch Freebie is a Sand Ruby, which we know leads to Rydia, but it's not an objective, and not a white mage, so not really what this party is looking for.
Nope. And quick look in the Baymarch gift shop shows nothing really of value. An Odin summon, well, if you're not going to get rid of, there's no point in that. And a bomb and a bestiary, which are also pretty useless.
I'm curious when Cubs is going to make his way back to Antlion, because not having that Darkness Crystal is it's a big thing, especially if he ends up forgetting it.
Absolutely. And it looks as though it's Sisters at Ashura and Ruby at Leviathan spot. What do you think about that?
I mean, they're not the worst bosses, but the sisters in particular, I think, is kind of scary there, just because their spells are going to hit super hard and they're going to be super fast. Ruby, if you have the ice weapons, is not too bad there, but I think the party is definitely going to want more levels before they take on either of those.
That's true. There's some rumblings in chat about Rydia being a healer. Yes, if you call Cure 1 and if you get Ashura and you roll the not Life 1, which I always seem to roll, then yes, you could technically call her a healer as much as you would call Edward a healer, I would say.
I suppose you can, but the real benefit of having a white mage right now, I think, is the Berserk and Blink spells. And unless you've got a power staff bonk on your Rydia, which is hard to set up, you're not getting either of those out of her.
Absolutely. you're right, Bardic Panda. They have sold Ashura, but that doesn't mean that it won't be available somewhere else. I picked up multiple Ashuras in a seed before and said, "Thanks, seed. I'll sell these."
So I'll let Cubs play into Dwarf here. I think the party is still looking for that white mage, and Dwarf is a place you might find them. And it looks like we have a pretty free boss here in the first spot with the Kaipo guards.
I would agree 100%. He's still probably wondering where my white mage at, because Cecil doesn't really count. And you've got these Kaipo guards, which basically um, you can mow them down with the assassin dagger because they do not have the boss bit. So that makes them pretty free in this essence. And then once you kill the 3 of them, the officer gets really, really scared and runs away. So we will see what happens here in regards to that.
Another thing to look for here is with the new randomizer version, Bahamut can now be one of the random summons that Rydia learns here from Dwarf. And if so, I think that Sand Ruby becomes much more tempting.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot. There were a couple of changes in this version of the randomizer, and I forgot that was one of them. Um, Definitely an interesting choice. Would you then sub out Palom for Rydia?
I think at this point I would probably still drop the Edward.
Yeah, I would agree too. I mean, he's a warm body, but yeah, and it's a sure behind, so it's not that bad. And it is Junior Mage Porum, and Edward is dropped like a sack of potatoes on the side of the road. Definitely
Yeah.
a smart play.
The summons went by pretty quick, but I don't think Bahamut or Leviathan was in that list, and so Rydia might be sleeping through this seed.
Yes, alas, unless somebody in chat caught that. Cubs, they were pretty fast on the draw, and I get it. It's a race. But I didn't catch it either, unfortunately.
And I saw Odin and Sylph and Indra, and there was something else that I didn't see.
Oh, you're doing better than me, Decker. I blinked. I must have blinked and just totally missed it.
Cubs is really still sticking with his keeping the spellcasters down for a potential slingshot. It looks like, you know, slingshot again also is a situation where you might see Rydia get picked up late just for the slingshot.
That's true, but he's got to get that darkness crystal to get a chance at that slingshot. So Antlion still looms large in the window. Hopefully Cubs hasn't forgotten about that. That's my number one hope, is that they're just trolling us, chat, maybe, who knows, and maybe they'll go there now. But now with the Earth Crystal, now what do you do if you're Cubs?
Well, I think you're most likely to see him go straight to Zot and complete that Earth Crystal check, see who the characters are, see what's in the treasury, get that objective checked off.
I agree with you 100%. I could definitely see him doing that. But it looks as though he is going to crack an egg here on the mini peninsula of power. Otherwise, there would be no other reason to stop specifically where they have stopped. So the siren, which is in very short supply in this seed, gives you basically the ability to summon the rarest encounter in the table. And in this spot, there's also another spot over near the edge, which is where I like to go, summons this egg. And this egg has a yellow dragon inside of it. But if you can somehow do 1800 damage to it, or get it swoon like that, then it doesn't turn into a yellow dragon and make your life angry.
Yep, very nice job getting the swoon strats. The timing on that is kind of challenging when you're on these 0 flags. I think it's kind of a solved puzzle for getting the swoon proc when you're well anchored, but when you're not, it can be a little bit rando, as we saw there, Cubs getting it on the second attempt.
Absolutely, but not a not a time loss at all, and was able to sling Porm up 16 levels there. So she will have some pretty good spells now, I think.
Absolutely. And we see Cubs, while he's here, is also setting up the Sheila 1 check.
Oh yes, Jay Bren. Thank you so much for reminding us. And we're all sort of de-resting here, so we appreciate the reminder because I totally had forgotten about that. And in regards to Dark Paladin, who drops potatoes on the road, you can eat those. If you have eyes in your potatoes, you definitely don't want to eat them.
I agree with that. Anyway, Cubs' check here of the Sheila 1 will route nicely into the Tower of Zod if that's what he decides to do next. Just hope he remembers to get himself healed up somehow before he takes on that Zot 1 check.
Uh, well, this isn't Cubs' first rodeo, so I expect them to hopefully remember that. But knowing that Antlion looms large, still concerned, and the tower key, which is an objective to destroy the super cannon. So
Yeah.
this is turning out to be a lot faster than I had expected.
Not a lot of zonks really at the check so far. We've already got to 8 key items over here on Cubs' side. We know there's a 9th and Antlion.
Yep. That must mean though that there are a lot of zonks coming on, and it looks as though Cubs has remembered about Antlion Caves. So that's good from their standpoint. I'm glad
Certainly.
that they're not gonna forget this, and then maybe you scratch your head and go, well, where could darkness be at this point?
It's really interesting. Both runners are keeping the Palom down and looking for that slingshot. And I definitely get it. It's a strong play. But they've been keeping him down quite a long time.
Yeah, at some point you got to decide. I I need my black mage. I need some damage done. I've got some bosses looming large that are gonna make my life impossible with my team of punch mage and edge and normal Cecil, we'll call him.
Right. Well, Pyron at least knew kind of all along about the darkness crystal. Cubs just getting that information now probably makes him feel good about the choice to have kept Palom down.
Yes, absolutely. From Cubs' standpoint, I would not be surprised at all if they go raise a whale and were to sling up, um, sling up Palom now. But I could be wrong.
It's definitely an option, but you're also got to think now for Cubs, he's at 9 key items. If he just gets a 10th somewhere, his grind could be half as long.
That is also true. Counting's hard sometimes. Counting to 10 even harder. So we are going to see him go into Lower Babel here, take out Super Cannon here. The boss there is pretty trivial. Him not going down the hook route means we don't know who is at the top of Lower Babel as of yet, but I'm sure we will find that out in just a moment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he decides to do the whole tower while he's here. Maybe you peek the boss and then decide based on what it is.
Let's try. I definitely give it a peek and see. Hey, maybe it's King Queen Neblin at the top. You'd love to see it.
Right now, Fire getting that crystal from Dwarf seems to be doing what I thought Cubs would do and going straight to Zot.
Absolutely. Yes, that's interesting. But Val not being immune to physical attacks at this spot, I'm vaguely familiar with. I believe I can't remember who in the community put up the spreadsheet that shows you where Val's okay and where you don't want to run into her.
I want to say it's Invenerable, but I hope I'm getting that right.
I thought so too, but I was like, oh, I don't want to say that just in case it's somebody else. But shout outs to whoever put that sheet together because it can definitely be a lifesaver. So you're not, throwing your head against the wall trying to beat Valvalis at a spot where if you don't have Kane, you might as well just run away.
And so Cubs here is doing the half tower only play, and meanwhile we're going to get a treasury check from Pyre.
We are rate that T Pro Treasury, and we are going to see a bunch of items come across, and they're going to be so far very uninspiring. Do you think, Decker? I've run a few seeds at this point, and whenever I come to the treasury, it's always very uninspiring. Do you think that runners will fade the treasury in the future?
I think a lot of it depends on how early in the seed you get that Earth Crystal. That was definitely a T-Pro treasury, though. I think the most powerful item we found was the Leviathan Orb, but do you really want to invest in picking that Rydia up and really putting that on her at this point?
Yeah, at this point, I think it's diminishing returns on Rydia if you're Pyre, but apparently if you're Cubs, you're like get in the van and we're going to Hollywood, and you're coming with us.
Yeah, well, he does have his 10th key item now, so he might be thinking slingshotting the 2 black mages and just getting double nuke.
Absolutely. And the punch mage now left at the side of the road, like sacked potatoes, unfortunately. Sorry, Yang, your time has come and gone, and now it's going to be the Rydia Palom show, I believe. Also, if you haven't already, follow our runners, except if I knew. Oh, okay, the fan does work. Follow Cubs Rule 21 Empire at the channels you see in our chat. They're nice enough to volunteer to put themselves on display. So follow's free. So definitely make sure that you're following both of them, as we appreciate it. Otherwise, it's Decker and I just talking for a couple of hours about who knows what.
Absolutely. You can see Pyre now also setting up his grind, although he's going to be doing his without the 10 key items.
Do you think? Well, I mean, he's at 7, so I'm not against this play if he's at 9. Like you said, I'd be looking for that 10th key item, but knowing that he's 3 away, I'm definitely not against this play in regards to that.
I'm not against it either. He doesn't have the knowledge that there's 2 key items waiting for him in Fabul if he just does the Sheila one into Fabul defense. And, he's probably also thinking that there haven't been a lot of Zonks so far, and so chances are there would be a Zonk there, although that turns out not to be the case.
So we see also 2 grinds set up thanks to Jay Brent chat. It looks as though Pyre went with the Swag Mysidia setup that I've never personally seen before. I have seen on Cub's side the outside Baron check, so I'm curious. The encounter tables, I assume, are similar, and someone hasn't reinvented the wheel.
They are similar, but there are some small differences. So you can't just use the Baron table outside Mysidia.
Okay, I thought maybe it was just a different layer of scenery. Good to know. I will stick when I learn it this weekend. I will stick with the Baron one because I know that's the one I have, and I definitely don't want to be swaggy like that. That's for sure.
Yep, I mean, sometimes you can save a little time since the whale spawns outside Mysidia doing the setup there, but I myself am kind of in the same boat of I'm comfortable with Baron, and so I want to stick with what I'm confident in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the extra 5 or 10 seconds it would take to get to Baron from Mysidia, definitely not a bad play here. So we are here at the what's affectionately going to be called the Mac Giant Grind. Becker, can you explain to everybody in chat and everybody watching what exactly is going to be going on here? Because I truly don't 100% know.
Well, I could certainly try. So basically, the Mac Giant grind, I mean, it's kind of similar to the old D Machine grind that is probably more people are familiar with, in the sense that you have this searcher and then you hit it with a low damage attack, and then it'll summon a Mac Giant and kind of just kill the Mac Giant over and over again. And then at the end of the battle, you get your experience all at once, which is great for your slingshots. The difference is, the D Machine grind really revolves around Tella and the weak spell. The Mac Giant grind really revolves around getting these weapons that hit the weaknesses of the Mac Giant. And that's mostly like the Thunderclaw, the Ogre Axe, the Poison Axe. In a pinch, you can use a Charm Claw or Charm Arrows, but the main ones are the Ogre Axe, Thunderclaw, and Poison Axe, I would say.
Okay, and thank you so much for letting all of us know, including myself, because I was trying to figure out how in the world you would take down a Mac Giant when you're, as you see there, I mean, yeah, you can blink your characters up, but if you're not doing enough damage, like it's blinks aren't going to matter at that point.
Yeah, it's a very technical grind in the sense that I think, your knowledge of different ways to efficiently kill the Mac Giants can really affect how long the grind takes. For example, here, it would be really nice on Pyre's side if he had a second claw, either a Charm Claw or a Thunder Claw to go with that Yang. He might be able to one cycle them, which he's not able to do with his current configuration. But you do have to balance that against how much you're doing shopping to find that gear. So it really is a balance.
So, do you think that because Pyre kept my goodness, Yang along for the ride, that his grind will go a little bit smoother? Because on Cub's side, they really only have Cecil and Edge to do damage, it looks like, and it looks as though the other ones are just hopefully not dying.
I would say that is true if Yang had the claw to hit the Giant's weakness, but since he doesn't, I don't think he's contributing very much, and I think it's going to be similar on both sides.
Good to know. That's definitely some excellent knowledge that you're dropping there, Decker. And I'm just going to take this moment because you see this amazing Mac Giant grind. It'll probably be over real soon. I don't know what the magic number is on this, but just shout out to our restream team, Scar behind the scenes, making sure that the stream doesn't go on fire. We've got the Bardic Panda, making sure that all those buttons get clicked that you see there, all the goals, all the key items and whatnot. And to my co-commentator, who I believe I'm co-commentating with for the first time, Decker Smash. Make sure you give them all a follow.
Yeah, it's actually my first time in the commentary booth, so first time commentating with anyone. It's been so fun so far.
Oh, that's awesome. I never knew. It doesn't show. I can definitely tell you that much.
Well, thank you. Anyway, just while we watch the runners grind here, a couple of other sort of technical points on this grind. We saw Cubs, I think, set up a slow with Porum, which, one of the things that surprises some people is if you slow the Giant once and then you kill it and you summon it back again, the one that comes back slowed. And, that can actually make the grind go a little more smoothly if you get slow or double slow up early on.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw Porum cast slow on the Mac Giant and the Searcher, and I was like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because you're going to kill them and the new one's going to come back. I didn't realize that the new one inherits at least that slow stack from the previous one. So that is also very good to know.
Yeah, I think the way that the summoning works in the game's code is actually like there's only one Mac Giant and it starts the battle dead, and then when the Searcher summons it, it actually is reviving it. And then every time it summons it, it's as if it's reviving the same Mac Giant.
Well, as we all know, chat, FF4 is a perfectly programmed game. There are absolutely zero technical flaws, any other flaws whatsoever that have not been patched out by Boardface in this game, in the history of this game. So So definitely, I am here for it.
Absolutely. So the magic number I think for Cubs would be to kill 4 of them. Because with 10 key items, that's 8, and then if you get the life glitches off, um, it doubles it again to 16.
You think 16 is usually like the magic number? Like once you get 16, everything else is pretty trivial. Is that how that works?
I mean, it should get you to nuke. That's the important thing that they're both looking for. Fire will have to do probably twice as many. Looks like maybe Cubs is setting up to end this fight. Although, the other thing about this grind is you do have to kill the Searcher, and it looks like Cubs counted the damage right in order to be able to kill it with that last edge punch there. But it has 5,500 hit points, and you can get some unintentional Mac Giants at the end if you aren't careful the way Cubs was.
Absolutely. But 656,000 experience. Rydia gains 52 levels and will be up to nuke, I believe, yes. And Palom with 47, I believe he gets nuke at 48, if I'm wrong.
I could have sworn Palom gets it a little later than that, but
No, you got it.
he did get nuke, yeah.
So whether it's 48 or less than 48, he's at 57. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I must have misread.
Yeah, I mean, with 650k and then doubled from the slingshot, he should be well above his nuke threshold. I'm
Thank
curious
you.
About,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm curious about Cubs kind of going deeper into the giant here.
Maybe just a peek. Maybe. I mean, giant isn't an objective by any means, but maybe a free boss. I'm with you. I am not 100% understanding this play, but clearly they know something that perhaps we don't know.
Yeah, well, so he knows D-Mist is in the basement, I think, because he's the one of our runners who peeked that. So it's kind of a mystery. I'm very curious to see what he'll do once he sees who the boss is.
Absolutely. I'm also equally as curious. If he didn't know where Demus was, then totally, yeah. I mean, you're here. You want to at least peek the first spot, and if it's not there, if it happens to be at CPU, and that's where you lose, well, then you end up just kind of dying on that hill because that's a really low. It would be a really low percentage shot. So let's see who we got here in the element spot, which has 65,000 hit points, chat. So, and it's a sparkle to boot.
Yeah, definitely not a Sparkle I would be enthusiastic about fighting here. And Wyvern.
Wyvern,
Sure.
definitely not. I mean, opens with the fire too, which is not the scary part, of course. We do have the Witchburn flag on these sets, so instead of opening with Mega Nuke there, we calm him down a little bit, and he throws out a random spell, I believe, from the entire spell list, from the black magic spell list, I should say. In this case, fire 2. But it's going to be these nukes. So we're going to be in a bit of a nuke throwing contest, I believe, here.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Pyre has also wrapped up his grind and is now heading back to Troya to go up the Tower of Zod and complete that objective.
That would be, I believe, those bosses will be pretty trivial for him, and unless Cubs gets Wyvern quickly, this may turn bad potentially. I mean, yeah, you're pretty over leveled at this point, but Wyvern still got 65,000 hit points, and those nukes are still hurting.
Yep, and it's a pretty speedy Wyvern at this spot. It's the fastest boss spot in the game.
Exactly. I see those nukes going out, and yeah, they're tanking them like pros. But I mean, I guess you got Porn there with Cure Force, or maybe maybe not as worried as he should be, but definitely you don't want one of your guys going down, or the double nuke on Porum, and then she's in the dirt, especially when you're going to be here. Fortunately, a low amount of damage. I don't think she has a lot of gear on to help her stats.
So Scaresure points out that maybe what Cubs is thinking is he wants to get white on Porum, and there is certainly a lot of experience at this spot. That's a good explanation for it, I think. Although, he might end up with it naturally anyway as you're completing the seed, so Ribbon Room being an objective, for example, I don't know. It's still an interesting choice to me.
I I would agree with you. I understand what Scar is saying in chat there. If this is not a rude boss, then sure, yeah, you could hammer it down. But Wyvern's just like eating up time. And up at the top of Zot, you've got a Rosa, the real white mage. Don't at me, chat. Rosa's the real white mage, and your best buddy Yang, which, yeah,
So really the only boss you're worried about here if your Pyre is Golbez, and I think you're still okay if it's Golbez, but well, it's
sit back and relax.
yeah, it's not Golbez. We're gonna get aggressive on these guys rather than sit through their cutscene. Cubs does get through that Wyvern. I didn't see if he actually learned white from that fight.
Unfortunately, I did not either. But my money is on Yi, maybe, because he is saving.
Oh yeah, he got it.
Yeah, so that he's just gonna power through. What is? I really need to ask Cubs about this. Remind me at the end here during the interview, because this I'm definitely not understanding.
Ooh, especially with an evil wall here. That's not a super fast way out of the giant.
No, for sure. And as you can see, Evil Wall packs an even bigger punch than Wyvern. While he doesn't have as much hit points, if you can, one shot Rydia, then the rest doesn't really matter.
But the important thing is we got a Dragon Whip out of Zod, and so now we can let Rydia hit things.
Yep, chat, let Rydia hit things. And you're right, real white mage who can't cast exit without a plot trigger, but good news, plot trigger's there. So guess who already has exit, even though she's level 10? Oh, good point from Scar. It looks as though he accidentally marked this as a required objective. I hope he hasn't missed. Has he missed one then? I mean, this would explain a lot then.
Yeah, well, hopefully he at least notices when he gets through this that it doesn't do the objective completed thing, and then maybe he'll check the menu for what his objectives are.
I certainly hope so. You hate to see this when it's mismarked there, and we're all human. We make mistakes. Things happen. But
Certainly.
This definitely explains why he went through the giant. That's for sure.
Well, I guess we don't need to ask him now.
Nope, now we don't. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Scar, for your investigative journalism. I will make sure you get an award. And look, it's a real white mage, Rosa, if you have a second chance. But at this point, you've already slung Porum up, so I expect Rosa to hit the bricks.
Pyre is going to get his hook and power key here in Fabul.
And then you wonder if you're Pyre, he might think, oh geez, this was on the table the whole time. Am I now behind?
Yeah, maybe, although having got the magma key, you're probably less worried about the timing of finding the hook.
That's true, unless, somehow, who knows?
We might actually see him go straight down the hook route after this, because it kind of routes nicely doing the hook route into the lower Babel checks.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Check, as we do have Cubs going up to the moon and checking the Hummingway shop, which is a gated shop, so I believe there's a chance at better things. But Illusion and Notice at this point, he's done his grind, so he doesn't need those.
Absolutely. And are we gonna see him just dive the moon, go down and fight the ribbon room?
I wonder. According to chat, Ryoto says all of Cub's objectives are wrong. So I don't know. This will be
Yeah.
interesting. Somehow he's got two done somehow.
You know, it's interesting that he did the half tower when Super Cannon was objective. I wonder if he at least has that one right.
Oh, I hope so. But he didn't look as his objectives. I was definitely looking to see, unless maybe it just the frame skipped on my side. But I did not see him look when he should have seen that tower was, or sorry, not tower, Giant of Babel was complete.
Yeah, I did not see that either. Meanwhile, Pyre is not going to do the hook route quite yet, but he is going to lower Babel. We'll see if he clears out the whole tower. I kind of like that because even though the two route well into each other, there's there's scenarios where you sort of get two objectives at the same time at the end, and then you don't have to do the hook route at all, and you save time that way.
Absolutely. He's got adamant. Maybe the legend swords at the top. You're already here. You're powered up. You might as well give it a peek and see what you see, and maybe get an extra objective for your troubles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we do see Cubs going further and further into the lunar subterranean. Um, where they are going, um, who knows? But it looks as though they believe that they need to go to the. Oh my goodness, Decker, help me out. I can't remember.
Crystal Sword Altar?
Crystal Sword. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, it's that altar. So he must be thinking that this is a requirement, and I hope they
Yeah.
notice when that doesn't go off.
Well,
Let's
who knows? Maybe their incorrect objectives will lead them to exactly where they need to go through sheer luck.
Well, and is water hag, so well he'll quote unquote punch at this spot. You hit him 3 times and he will disappear. And it's a sparkle at the top of Lower Babel, and it's Leviathan's older cousin, Ogopogo.
Yes, the Nope Noodle himself. Still annoying even when you have all the levels because Big Wave just doesn't care. it
Yeah.
does it does half your life or a quarter of your life, no matter what.
Yeah, Ogopogo laughs at levels. This was a way that the developers tried to counteract people who typically in your RPGs you would grind, and Ogopogo's at the Mazamune.
We
And
have
that's a crystal sword.
a little
Well,
scoop of vanilla there. Yeah.
that is something. Cubs, check your objectives, please. Please, I beg of you. I mean, you have the crystal sword, so
Yeah.
hey, GG and a ninja sword, unfortunately for Pyre, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, still a good upgrade for Edge, but not really what he was looking for.
Nukat in chat letting us know what Cubs objectives are. They're in no particular order: Cave Magnus, Giant Crystal Sword Package, Sand Ruby, Super Cannon, Forge, and Pinktail. Huh. Well, that's definitely not going to help.
So he thinks he's one item, either the Pinktail or the Legend Sword from Go Mode, I guess.
Yeah. And well, here's the
Or
good
the twin
news.
hit.
Yeah, or twin arm. Here's the good news with that crystal sword with Cecil. Cecil will do some work, folks. That crystal sword is definitely, um, it is a thing of beauty. It is your holiest of holy weapons. We were talking about it earlier. Decker with the witch there, um, and just said, "Oh, we'll never find a holy sword," and then it just magically appears.
Yep. And question in chat was, is there a way to look at objectives in game? Yes, there is. If you go into like the settings menu, you can then kind of go over to the right, I believe, and view your objectives.
Yep. Board added in a track button. It wasn't in the original, but once objectives were released in version 2, maybe 3, the track was added into the side menu, so you can see where your objectives are and what needs to be done and all that good stuff. And unsurprisingly, Bygan going down quickly for Cubs and some more unnecessary levels for our team, and he gets in the magic Sork robe for his troubles. Now we're
Probably
seeing the
not.
zonks.
Probably not what he was looking for, although again, it is a nice gear upgrade.
Yeah, especially if your Radia's rocking karate there. Sorcerer is definitely an upgrade.
Exactly. Pyre also deciding this is the time to dive the bottom of the moon, it looks like, so he'll probably be getting a lot of the same things down here, and we'll see if that's what he needs.
Absolutely. He might be targeting the ribbon room. There are 2 items there. So, I mean, if that's me, that's where I'd go. But yeah, Mom Bomb there, who's rude, but because you're like super leveled, yeah, he's doing some damage, but it should be pretty immaterial.
Yeah, with the power that this party has, I think both runners shouldn't have too much trouble skipping the bomblets phase by just doing so much damage that they kill before that happens.
Exactly, but looks as though Mom Bomb has it out for Rydia, and unfortunately, one of your new casters are down, which will definitely slow things down a little bit.
Yep.
But don't worry, Cecil will do his part there, 6692. But looks as though we are gonna get into bomblet phase. Maybe maybe he can power through it here. We'll see. Let's go. Hey, there we go.
Crystal Sword solves a lot of problems.
Also, shout out to Tasty Jake, subscribing in Tier 1 for 4 months. We greatly appreciate the support. Welcome back for 4 wonderful months. And now we get the check, because now Cubs is like, what have I done? I've done 3 objectives, but I thought I'd have 6. Huh.
Yeah, that can't be a good feeling in a race.
No, now if you're Cubs, you definitely feel like you're behind now. The good news is, at least in terms of our featured runners, I believe there are 5 in the race, maybe 6. Pyre only has 3 done as well, so Cubs not nearly as far behind as they might think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see the pigtail was in the ribbon room, I think, along with a Levia orb. Not the best results, but the pigtail might have something cool, and at least it's something.
Yep, he got the ribbon room, and he was probably a little confused by that. And I definitely am glad that they checked, at least now. Now they'll be able to get on track here. I think since he's in the neighborhood here, and it's Dark Imps, you're still looking maybe the Legend Sword's behind here, maybe Luca Key, maybe that's really about it.
Yeah, I mean, if he just goes back and does that, it's not going to take much longer than the extra moon checks that Pyre still needs to do to catch up. So It's still a very close race.
Absolutely, I'd agree. There's still things that can go wrong, and especially um, being over leveled for the Z fight doesn't necessarily mean that it's free. Again, the developers put things into place so that you couldn't. I mean, ultimately, if you wanted to grind a level 99, well, then yeah, then you're gonna win easy peasy. But with our runners being in a race, and he gets a rat tail, so
That is
uh,
an objective.
good good for Cubs there. And I believe that puts Cubs officially into go mode. He's got the Earth
Yeah.
Crystal and he's got Hook. He's got the Rat Tail. Yep. He must realize I'm in go mode. It's time to go. Let's do this. Let's go and trade away a Rat Tail. Let's go underground and get a Hook and launch a Falcon. And let's go up the Tower's Hot and let's beat this scene and hopefully not get punished.
Yeah, very nice. A consequence of the rat tail being there is probably when player sees it, he will not go do the crystal sword altar, which does mean he will be down a crystal sword, although he will save the time on that check.
That is true. So the question in your mind is Crystal Sword better than one Crystal Sword deck? And that's a question I cannot answer.
It's tough to say. I think it depends on the situation. Probably in this situation, the crystal sword isn't worth it because you're going to be looking to do reflect strats on Zeromus anyway. But it's not completely straightforward.
Nope, definitely not. But Pyre is um, still a couple of items away from go mode himself. Again, he's looking for that Luca key. He's looking for Legend Sword. He's still looking for the rat tail, which he is going to find down here. Um, so,
Yeah. Cub's probably hoping to find the pass from this rat tail turn in.
yeah, it's definitely possible. It is in the key hidden pool, and this is, I believe, this is a K main check. Oh, Luca key.
There you go. They'd like to lead to each other, don't they?
Well, actually, so the question is, in another crystal sword.
Well,
Wow.
that will likely equalize the crystal swords then when fire makes it back.
Oh, and Cubs must be thinking, man, I struck gold and gold was there the whole time.
Yep. So I think that puts Pyre a little bit in the lead, but it's still gonna be a fairly close finish if things continue the way they are.
So, given where things are, Decker, and your Cubs, and you think you're behind, do you, after you finish doing Zot, do you launch the Falcon or do you finish Seal Cave?
That's a good question. Probably if I'm sitting here today and I'm in this race, I would launch the Falcon because it feels like the last 3 or 4 times I've gone to the sealed cave, it's been the ult gauntlet there, and I've had to fight 9,999 bats. But the ult gauntlet could just as easily be on the hook route. So
Yeah, and then you're not fighting. At least you're not fighting bats. You're fighting other other
yeah,
other things that are unsavory.
eggs and blade men and things like that.
Exactly. So, yeah, I would still say Pyre maybe technically in the lead, but Cubs is quickly closing the gap here as he's going to have his fifth objective coming up really, really soon. As we see, I forgot what was up here. Oh, it was Kinatsu.
Yeah.
That's a turtle. That's easy peasy.
One argument in favor of doing the Luke Cave is it could be the pass.
That is true. That's very true. You know, when you're launching the Falcon, you're not getting a pass, so you gotta go back. So, question for you, Decker. When you drop the hovercraft to go into this cave, are you like Pyre and drop it on that one island, or are you like myself and drop it on Silvera Island, as I call it?
Usually I drop it where Pyre did, but the exception is if I'm gonna also do some shopping in Silvera.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I respect both plays. I didn't actually realize for a long time that you could uh, get to that cave from Silvera Island. Um, so when I learned that, that's just what I stuck to.
Yeah, and we see Pyre here, he is making the Luca key play, which I kind of like, it, as long as it's not the Yellow Gauntlet.
Absolutely. And Cubs at this point, looking at Rosa, looking, and they're just going to be again dropped at the side of the road like a sack of potatoes. Sorry, we're ready. We're overpowered. We're it. We really don't care what's here. We really don't.
Yeah.
And what was it here again? Oh yeah, it was these two.
Most challenging boss possible, right? Oh, speaking of Golbez, though, he still could be in the sealed cave, which would be a little bit of a rude spot for him.
Oh, that would be rude. Oh, Pyre put a Circ Robe on Cecil. That's that is definitely an interesting play. Maybe he wants to Zerk him up, and I know he had crystal armor on him, and crystal armor is great for everything except it resists Berserk.
Yeah, I think it was, I think it was more he just wanted to get the crystal armor off him than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So that tells me at least where Pyre's mind is as he's coming to the end here, as you get a dragon whip for your Zot troubles.
Yeah, probably not what Cubs was hoping to see, but now he's going to make his decision about where to go, Hook versus Luca Cave.
And it looks as though he where where are you taking us, Cubs? Going
He might
east was the last choice I was thinking.
probably wants to make exactly sure he knows what his objectives are before he makes his decision.
Fair enough. That's definitely more than fair. So he's decided, much like Pyre, that we'll roll the dice here on Sealed Cave and see what, as they say, is what. I clearly missed something. I believe it is Golbez at the bottom here because we do have Piggy and Size. Um, or
Maybe he's just setting them up preemptively, perhaps, thinking that any other boss will be trivial and the status ailments won't hurt him. Oh, it is Golbez, so there you go.
yeah, he. I think we are both looking at Cubs and forgot to look at Pyre because that takes a little bit of extra time to set up, and I don't think you're setting that up just accidentally. But
Yeah.
again, this game's perfectly programmed, so hold gas. In terms of the tree, falls below Piggy and Minnie, and because you can only have one status effect on any of your characters at any one time, hold gas um, basically just says get lost and you lose, and that definitely saves you a lot of time and definitely provides you with some opportunity here to get your characters back up if you need them. Um, Looks as though Shadow being a little bit rude, leaving the twins alive. But again, you just Starveil them, and at this point, it's a pretty high magic spot. So Golbez is probably just going to end up torching himself.
Yeah, it is a very high magic spot and also a fast spot, so you do not want to be fighting this Golbez without Star Veils up.
No, that's definitely true. If I was in Pyre's situation, I would be doing the exact same thing. I mean, I've got Palom up, so I might as well cast Nuke because I can.
Yep.
But other than that, just let Golby do his thing and take him down.
Also an Avenger for the item here in the sealed cave, so that's kind of a payoff. more so for Pyre than for Cubs, who I think probably um, would be better off doing reflect strats in this Romus fight.
Yeah, I think his party's more set up for for reflect strats. I think that was their intention, but um, did not reset in check. So has the hold gas. So definitely in a little bit of a less advantageous position in regards to that.
Yeah, I might be thinking you can try to win the 50-50 here on Golbez, who he targets with his spells, or the virus cast is actually potentially survivable too. I don't hate this play, but the agility is creepy, especially with two relatively slow party members here in Rydia and Palom being the two to survive.
I was going to say, at this point, with your characters being slow and Golbez being fast, this actually is going to be a problem. Definitely.
So
But
we do get a Star
Rydia does.
Veil up.
But now can Rydia heal thyself as virus slowly ticks away? And by slowly, I mean quickly ticks away.
I think even without healing, Golbez does so much damage to himself here that you'll still be fine.
I think you're right as well, but I like to play up the drama a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah, well. Getting through this fight with 120 hit points is plenty dramatic, and it's actually a nice little time save for Cubs trying to catch up a little bit.
Absolutely. They're thinking perhaps being behind, we gotta cut corners where possible and why, and definitely a lot less scary than you'd think.
Yeah. Well, Pyre is gonna walk as a mini and pig party all the way down back to the lunar subterrane, lunar core, and go talk to our friends Aromas.
And through all of that, both our featured runners here, Pyre and Cubs Roll 21, have completed all the same objectives. Cubs probably feels like they've completed like 9 objectives at this point, but they are now both in go mode, and you're going to see the magic that is Final Fantasy IV Pre-Enterprise.
Absolutely. So I'll be interested to see Pyre's approach this fight. I think his party is built more like a hybrid strat party since he kept that young. And with the Crystal Sword and Avenger, I'd be a little less inclined to do the Reflect strats.
I would agree. Um, Trade off Crystal Sword to Avenger to keep the Crystal Sword attributes, Berserk Yang, and just um, have Palom go to town, perhaps. That's
Yeah,
that sounds okay.
I mean, it does sound okay. Although I also think, one nuker, one white caster, and a spoon dart is also an okay Reflect setup. So either approach I think is viable, but it's really tempting when you have that Crystal Avenger to use it.
It absolutely is. And Avenger is a very seductive weapon, chat. Very seductive. Also, I'm seeing these Z flags in chat. Decker, can you explain to someone who might be new what they're talking about there? Are they tired? I mean, I know it's late on the East Coast, but let
Yeah.
them know.
Also, in this randomizers, Romus is just too powerful to be randomized in the rest of the boss pool. But we didn't want to just leave him completely vanilla, so instead of moving him around, we replaced Zeromus with a bunch of other sort of bosses that end with us and do the same things as Zeromus, but they look different. And so the C flag is a fun little way of asking whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Very nice, Decker. You have now been initiated into the commentary team by completing your first butt kicking of the evening. Oh, you have a yep. We have a question from the studio audience. Yes, Duke Darkwood. What is your question? Oh,
Who's
whose hat? We're
uh,
not gonna. No, sorry, Duke. There are other commentators who play with the hat, and is it cute? And does the hat have a butt and stuff like that? But I think me and Decker are a little more traditional, a little more old school in regards to that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I would love to see a Senator Crocodile Sprite. That's one of my favorites. But we'll see.
My personal favorite is literally Zeromus. It is the number 0, and it's just called Omus. So I'm hoping for that one.
Excellent.
Tax assistance
Chartmus.
from Z. Sorry, Nukad. That's wrong channel.
Yeah.
But Cubs not far behind. Not to forget about Cubs here, but you're going to see slightly different fights from them, and we will see what we will see. Oh, well,
DDROMS.
get your Dance resolution on, chat, because we're going 2002.
Yeah, I mean, that might be able to help you with your taxes, maybe.
I definitely would not go to the firm of Golbez, and Golbez. That's for sure.
Probably not.
No, it definitely has no but. But as you can see here, because Cecil's our hero, and because you can try and manipulate his agility, I didn't see what the agility of Cecil was, or even if Pyre checked. Probably didn't really care at this point. Just go in and just use power overwhelming, I would say.
Yeah, at these levels for Cecil, it should be in the low 30s, which is not too bad. The only reason to check is if you have a Drain Sword or a Dwarf Axe and you're at 33, you can get it down to 28, which is better, but honestly, this party is strong enough to do it just fine either way.
Yeah, you don't need to get fancy with nerfing big bangs, and that's usually the reason why you would need to like manip agility in regards to that, is just to make the fight a little less potentially painful. Again, at those lower
Yeah.
levels, at those
Scarcer
deeper
points out that Cubs, because he got all those extra levels, might be all the way up at 36. I did think our runners had a Dwarf Axe earlier, but I don't know if they held on to it, so that's something that Cubs could try to use to help things if he still has it.
Absolutely, but again, Cubs probably thinking that they're behind, is just gonna roll in and see what he can do. Um, and both of our runners are in the Z fight, so this is still a close race. Anything can still, in theory, happen. You can roll a nuke into a Meteo and really make things exciting. So I'm hoping for that, but we'll see what we will see.
We certainly will. Cecil hacking away for lots of damage over on Pyre's side, and Edge is tossing the crystal over on Cubs.
And his true colors emerge. And we'll see if Cubs is excited to see Dance Revolution as the boss. It does look like he is going
All
Reflect
right.
Bledsoe.
And I see a crumble over on Pyre's side. GG's to him.
Yes, ending the race with an official DR race spot. Race time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 36 seconds. So GG to Pyre. Totally skipped rocks.
Yeah, and he is our first place overall finisher in today's community race, so congratulations on that.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to assume we're going to have him in for an interview shortly, or maybe they've declined.
Well, in the meantime, we have Cubs. Things are going pretty well. He's decided not to go with reflect strats. I think tempted by that crystal sword. Um, that should still be fine.
Yeah, again, the way that this flag set is sort of rolling out, you can get to that power overwhelming, and the seed just kind of rolls itself.
Actually, I think he is still just doing reflect strats. Maybe he was just chipping in with the crystal sword. That works too.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have the crystal sword. You might as well use it. You're not going to use it again, and I think Form's going to be going down here.
Yeah, not a bad target. I think even lifing her up here is probably unnecessary since you're probably not going to see another big bang, but I don't mind the safety play.
Nope, for sure. Better safe than sorry. You can pull her back up really easily, and hey, it's always better to have an extra target around.
And it looks like maybe we've reached a point where we're not going to attack with the boys anymore. Uh, and that means we're probably getting pretty close to the end for Cubs.
Yeah. So what Cubs is doing is at about, I believe, 45,000 hit points. If you damaged him directly, he will then refill. But if you don't and you reflect, that doesn't trigger the refill because back in the day we only had 8 bits, so we only have 65,535-ish hit points. So he normally resets at 61,000, which is why it seems like he's a really, really tough boss to get behind. But we do see this nuke going through here,
Yep.
and I have been counting, and that should be it. Yes.
All right, excellently done. GG's to Cubs as well. Very close finish. Excellent.
Absolutely. Definitely a close finish, and I'm not sure what place that's ended up in.
It looks like he's second place, yeah.
Excellent. Well, again, GG to Cubs on that one. Excellently played.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those races for Cubs. He's going to look back to the time he spent fighting that Wyvern and Evil Wall and wonder, could he have maybe made up those 3 minutes if he'd known what his objectives were?
Well, I think if anything, learning it now versus learning it in the tournament, Cubs will probably be double checking those objectives going forwards, which is what we're all here to do. We're all here to learn and have fun.
Absolutely, and you know, it was really a good performance, I thought, from both of our runners. Just putting on a show for everyone tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know if we're going to be joined by either of them. I might be missing those messages, so I apologize.
Well, we'll see if they're available, and if not, then, well, that's fine too.
Yep. So Pyre has apparently politely declined the interview, which is totally his right. And sometimes after a tough scene or a quick scene, uh, I don't want to talk to anybody either. So that is excellent. We are going to be joined by Cubs in probably just a couple of moments here. So ultimately, Decker, what'd you think of the seed? It looks like an hour 30 seems to be about the average time for the seeds.
Yeah, I thought this was a good seed. I mean, it definitely showcased the Mac Giant grind, and you know the alternatives. I think were not too attractive. Although, you know, it wouldn't have been crazy to just get 10 key items the way Cubs did and go down to the moon and try to get your exp there.
Agreed 100% on that. Again, um, per- perfect. And we are now joined in the booth by Cubs Rule 21. Congratulations on your second place
All right, we're heading in for an
finish.
interview.
Um, tell tell the world what you think. I think you went and did 9 objectives. I think I total.
Sounds about right. Yes. So I heard you guys played a different seed than I did for about an hour.
Something like
Yes,
that.
Yeah.
we were a little confused. It first started in the giant, and we're like, well,
Mhm.
he's clearing out wyvern there. That's kind of spicy. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, he's going the whole way. This is
So
not an objective.
I realized after the race started, I forgot to connect my auto tracker for for the race seed, and it was still showing everything from the seed that I was using to for Scar to crop. Then so I based on what I saw, I was at 5 objectives before I was going to the giant to Mac Giant. So I was thinking, hey, I've about God routed this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yep,
if I was in your situation, I would have thought
yep,
the exact same thing. Someone in chat, and I apologize, I can't remember who, indicated to us that, oh, all of your objectives that you had listed were completely wrong, and we were like,
yeah.
oh,
So
please check.
it wasn't until I hit Ribbon Room and that popped as an objective. I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. Yeah, I had 2 objectives at that point. I think Ribbon ended up being number 3, and just like, oh, well, fun.
Yeah, you had to, and I was hoping when you finished Giant that you would have noticed that there was no pop up there, but then that wasn't noticed. I was like, oh no. Oh no, please. Just please, please, please. If you check the VOD Cubs, you'll hear me saying, please open
Oh
your tracker. Please, please. And
no,
then you finally
I am
did.
I'm very much looking forward to it. This one will be very entertaining to watch back. No, I guess I'm lucky that a couple objectives were the same. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, with all that, I suppose I can't be too upset about that. It still kind of worked out. I would not have finished Giant. I would have done 7-7 instead of 5-5 on the Mac Giants, but it still kind of worked out, and I guess I can't complain a whole lot.
Nope. You were both in the Z fight at the same time in regards to that. I think had you not gone to Crystal Sword Altar, I think it might have been really like super close at that point if I do the math correctly.
Yeah, that was objective number 5 on my list. And you know, a vanilla crystal sword is nothing to sneeze at, but I would have been very happy to not see that in this scene.
No,
About all I can
exactly.
say.
Especially after you train in the pink tail and you're like, oh, I could have had Crystal Sword all along. Now I have
that
two. Thanks.
that was going to be the funny part. That pink tail was objective 6 from what I had marked down. So
Oh
that was
my.
very close to me bailing out before Luca Key.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That would have been
Uh,
terrible.
yeah, I didn't see where Legend or Pan were, but my guess is I wasn't going to hit him anytime soon.
I didn't get a chance to see. And Pyre, believe it or not, through all the hilarity, you both finished the exact same objectives, the exact same objectives. You had the hook, and you decided no, but I believe that's probably because that wasn't on your list of objectives.
No.
Um, and had it been, you probably would have done that. I think Decker and I
Eh,
were kind of talking about that, going, I wonder what the thoughts are on that, but you're
maybe I would have put it off, especially in that situation, to see if I mean, as it turned out, Luka Key was able to skip hook route instead of having to go down there. That would have been number 6, but I think I still would have put that one off just to see if I could get away with not doing it.
Yeah, I don't think I would have done Hook the way that you routed it. For Pyre, he didn't get the tower key until after his grind, and so he could have routed the Hook route into the lower Babel, and I think that would have been maybe a little more tempting than the way you routed it.
Yeah, I was after I saw Sand Ruby Riddy, I was kind of praying for Darkness to show up, and then, of course, it was the Antlion that I skipped for half an hour waiting for exit, of course. But that it kind of walked into Darkness and 10 key items before that grind, so it worked out.
Yeah. So was the reasoning on the Antlion fade just looking to get that exit?
Yeah, I knew with Cecil, it wasn't going to be that hard to get through ordeals with the edge and a drain spear in the back pocket. So just wanted to get through there and try to get Cecil to exit. Dolls were mildly annoying because I forgot the assassin dagger. I don't think I've ever seen a flame do less than 100 damage, but there it was.
Yeah, we saw that, and I was like, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
Because Pyre, I think, didn't have a problem, and Decker said, oh, he had the assassin dagger.
Yeah.
Said, yeah, that explains it.
No, I figured it wouldn't be too hard to get exit underground, and it took a little longer, but it kind of worked out in the end.
Yeah, I think it was fine. Let's see. What did you think when you saw that edge after the not so great 2 starting characters?
I couldn't mash fast enough to get edge out of that. Cecil at least came with the black sword, so it wasn't awful. And if you're gonna have a Yang, the Thunderclaw is not bad, but Edge, especially Edge with a boomerang, just completely made that.
Yeah, that definitely took the sting off of a DK Cecil Yang start. That's for sure.
And just seeing the Edge, I mean, you find one weapon for him, you pretty much have most of ordeals taken care of. So it was just kind of find something and then try to get up ordeals as soon as possible to get Paladin Cecil online.
Very reasonable.
Any final thoughts on the seed cups?
Like I said, for doing 8 or 9 objectives, I really can't be too upset at how things worked out. This was actually still routed pretty well and played pretty well. So looking forward to more. Looking forward to the tournament. Really looking forward to the Eno XP flag set. I like that one quite a lot. So hopefully I get to see that one a few times later on.
Absolutely. I think we're all looking forward to that. We'll let you go on, and thank you again for providing us with an amazing race, Cubs. It was definitely a treat to commentate.
No, thank you both for comms. Scar, well rolled. Panda for tracking. Thank you as well. Very much looking forward to watching this one back. Should be quite the watch. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Thanks, Cubs. Have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks again to both Pyre and Cubs for providing us with that amazing content. Holy jeez, it's been a day. Any final thoughts, Decker? What do you think of going forward?
Not really any final thoughts. We've got another community race on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern, and anyone who's interested in the tournament, you've still got some time to sign up. I think the signups close on July 8th. So, practice your Mac Giants and sign up and have some fun.
Absolutely. There is also they're doing some ZZ6 R-Ramp asyncs just to give people sort of that race feel, but it's tough to get everybody together, and it's going to be a 1v1 tournament style. So this will sort of give you an idea as to where you fall. Definitely join the Discord. Scar was nice enough to drop that link in the chat. Again, I'll make sure you're following our runners. Again, they provide the content It's me and Decker here talking, and again for your first time, Decker, I would have never known Scar behind the scenes for doing what he does, amazing, and Bardic Panda for eating all the buttons wherever he could possibly eat them. So I think on behalf of the entire team, have yourself a wonderful evening, and we will see you um, on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Should be a fun one. Good night, everybody.